Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. A company named Tesla C recently reached out to me and asked me if I'd be interested in reviewing one of their front screens, the front dash screen for my Tesla Model Y. I'm really excited about this product. I've been looking at getting one of these screens installed since I got my Model Y, and I'd love to kind of take you guys along the journey of installing it, reviewing it, and testing it, putting it through its paces. So let's go get into it. So jumping right into the unboxing of this screen, I just want to comment on the packaging, the design. This is like unboxing a really high-end smartphone. Very high quality packaging, really nice shipping. Just a big thank you to Tesla C for sending this over to me. As we start unboxing this here, I want to talk a little bit more about the product. It's a 9.6-inch display screen. This is their Gen 2 model. So they took a lot of the feedback that they learned from their Gen 1 design and incorporated it into their Gen 2 design. So I really like how this one looks. It's very sleek and very modern. So let's get into it as we start unpackaging this here, taking off the lid. Really, really nicely packaged. Nice foam protection. All right, right off the bat, this is the actual display screen. 9.6 inches, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, lots and lots of bells and whistles. We'll get into those, all of them here as we install this thing. And I'm going to walk you through step by step through the process of how to do that. But this is the actual screen. Just absolutely gorgeous screen. Really, really like that. That's going to look absolutely gorgeous in the car. Set that off to the side. Let's see what else it comes with. This is the actual screen mounting bracket. One thing that I really like about this design, it is so minimal. You won't see any cords when we get it all installed. This is the all you'll see that's going to be sitting on your dash, and the screen's going to mount right here to it. It's a really minimal design, very, very nice. You get a little logo if you want to add a Berserk Mode logo to the back of your car. That's pretty cool. I don't know if that's a sticker or a magnet, but we'll take a look at that in a little bit. You get a little set of pry tools, a nice, really nice just feature to have them available. A little set of pry tools that we're going to need. We'll use these for the installation. If you don't have a set of pry tools, these will come in handy on many other aspects of owning a Tesla, as everything's held together with clips. But a nice included set of pry tools there. Very cool. Now let's start talking a little bit about some of the wiring harnesses that it comes with. This is a permanent installation. You do have to remove the dash and some other trim to get this installed. But very simple. This is your actual wiring harness connector that plugs into your car. You get a couple different plugs here for attaching it and doing all the things you need to do. And another little cord here as well. This model they sent me actually comes with a front camera as well. As part of my installation, I'm not going to be installing the front camera right now, but there are a lot of other videos that show you how to do the front camera so you can actually see it show up on the display screen. But I'm going to skip that part of the installation and just use it for some of the Apple CarPlay features, and just having a screen in front of you features. So, wow, amazing packaging. Really appreciate how well it's designed. Just all the parts and pieces are so well kind of just cared for and in place there. So what a cool product. I can't wait to get it installed. Let's head over to the car. I'm going to start walking you through step by step how to get this installed in your car. So I have the car opened up here, and we're actually going to be removing this entire dash piece. It's very simple to do. And the first step, it starts with taking off these two triangular panels on each side. You take your included trim tool that came with your kit, and there's just 3 clips that are attached to these 3 triangles here. And they just pop right out. Really simple. Once you get the first one, the next 2 are actually really easy to get out. And there you go. That's your first triangle piece. Let's go pop off the driver's side real quick. So over here on the driver's side, pretty much the same thing. Get your trim tool in wherever you see one of the gaps. And start prying it down, and there you go. Back on the passenger side now, we need access to some of the plugs down here underneath the actual trim pieces down here. So we're going to start by taking off this really simple trim piece right here. It has one clip at the top, which we will just get our pry tool in and push it back. And then it'll slide out through there's a little attachment at the bottom there that just pulls right out. Set that to the side. You have a little kind of one of those pop rivets that like to hold in everything in place as the next piece. So get your trim tool down in there, maybe the little side. Pull out that pop rivet. There you go. And get your fingers in there. And that pulls out the little pop rivet you need to get out of the way. Next, we're going to remove some of this just trim molding. And it's really easy, it just kind of slides off. Let me scoot the camera back so you can see how I'm doing this. This trim molding piece just comes right out. And just lay it off to the side. Won't hurt anything. Don't need to remove the whole thing, but just kind of move it off to the side. Then we have this whole cover piece is just going to come right out. We remove that one pop rivet at the top. It's just held in place with clips. You just kind of pull it up and out of the way. And set that off to the side. And the last thing is there's one more little pop rivet we need to remove down here. Right here. And this just kind of will get us access to all the things we need to access back here to install our new dash monitor. Let's get this little pop guy out with our trim tool. Give him a little spin, a little pull if you need to. There you go. And that should move this carpet out of the way. And that gives us access to just about everything we need back in there to plug everything in. I'll go through where everything plugs in when we get there. So a quick recap to get where we are here. We removed this 2 triangle panels on each side, one trim piece here. I pulled back the weather stripping and then just took out the 1 trim piece here along the door. So super simple to get where we are. The next step is actually going to be removing this dash panel here, this whole thing across the entire length of the car. It's a lot easier than it looks. I've done this before to install my ambient light kit. So you just actually have to take a little bit of force and kind of just start pulling it up. And then there's the clips. So once you do all the sides, it comes right out. Make sure you don't hit anything as you're taking it out of the way. There you go. And that's your whole dash panel right there. We're going to go set this over on the workbench. I'm going to put down some towels so we don't scrape it up, and then we'll get to installing that screen. All right, so we have the dash panel out. We're over on the workbench here, and I set down some towels just so I'm not scratching up my, my dash trim piece. The next step is that once you count 29 spaces in the actual holes in here, and if you can see if I tilt this up, there are holes throughout this kind of little trim piece here. They don't go all the way to the edge, and they actually stop right around here. What it wants us to do is count 29 of these holes and kind of mark it with some tape. And that's just going to align the screen to where we want it aligned. So I have a piece of tape here, and let's count those 29 holes. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 26, 27, 28, 29. Just take your time with this because you want it accurate, you want it right. And I have a piece of tape here where I'm going to be marking, that's the 29th hole. That 29th hole is going to be where these bottom 2 pegs go of your actual harness here. So if I have that right, that should go right about there. And let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty much centered right on the steering wheel trim piece there, which is what you're looking for. I'm going to pull that back out. The next step is grab one of our wiring harnesses. And from my understanding, these are all the same. There's 3 different wiring harnesses. If you're going to install the front camera, you need to install another one at this point, but I'm only going to be installing one. How they did this design is actually really unique, and I really kind of like it. So they have the 2 little connectors here that aren't plugged in yet. And it's so smart because those won't fit through the small ports of these actual trim pieces. You have to do some cutting and some destruction. But they'll just have you install those end caps by yourself after you kind of get this threaded through. So I think that's a brilliant design. So let's unwind this cord. And the first thing it says is actually go ahead and thread this up through the wiring harness. So come in through the back here. And you actually want it correct and turned over as I'm doing this. Let's see if I can get that out. Probably easier to go the other way. Actually turn it over. You're going to want it facing up when you get it through. It actually says the easiest way to do this is to go the other way. So let's try that. Take those and put them through this side. Yep, that's much easier. And then just pull your wire through. Don't lose those 2 end clips that you have. All right. And that's going to be sitting just like that. And this is going to give us power to that screen. So when we plug in the screen on the back of the screen, you'll see it's kind of labeled. See if I can get that on camera. You have a card slot. This one's for your 5-volt power, and this is for your front camera. They're USB-C plugs. So if you are using a front camera, like I said, you're going to need 2 of these plugs in here. I only need 1 right now. The next step, we can actually plug in the screen and get it attached here. Let's see. I'm going to be plugging into the power port, just like that. And get it lined up. Put this in. There you go. You get a nice satisfying kind of click there. And that's how the screen's going to be mounted. Love that. All right. So we have that kind of out of the way. Let's set this kind of in the back here so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to take the screen and try to have it a nice flat cord. I'm going to move these two little pieces so I don't knock them anywhere over there. I'm going to try to get a nice flat cord so I can feed it through slot 31. So that makes sense. 29 is where your first leg is going to go. You skip space 30, and 31 is where you're going to feed the cords. So I want it nice and flat. So I'm going to hold this over here. Hold it nice and flat so I know it's all flat down the whole way. We're going to skip space 29 and 30. We're going to go right through space 31. Like that. Come on the back side. Kind of thread that through. Perfect. Move it all kind of over. Keep pulling that through. And then if you did everything right, space 29 should be right where you install that first clip. You can see that on camera. And let's just go ahead and push it down in there. And if that screen looks kind of centered, I think it does. Let's go ahead and remove this tape out of the way and get that thing fully seated. Inside in. There you go. And that's how it's going to look. Nice, secure installation. And I like that. Hidden wires and very minimalistic. I just really like that. The next step is taking this over to the car and kind of putting things back together, and we'll show you how to install this. Let's do this right now. So you take one of these cords real quick. And now that we have it kind of threaded through, we can actually install the end cap here. So it has the red marking on it, which means the red's going to go over to that pink side. And this should only fit one way. It's this way. There you go. So they only fit one way until you get a nice click out of all of them. And then you have the red side attached to the pink, and that's your whole cable kind of assembled. So really nice kind of way to do that. So you don't have to do a whole lot of cutting or destruction to get a screen like this installed. All right, let's head back over to the car and we'll get the dashboard installed and show you where to plug everything in. So we have the screen installed on the dash, and I just kind of set it up here so you can see what I'm doing. The cord just is going to run right here through this kind of channel. And it's just going to be, just make sure it's not in the way of any of the clips or anything. And it's going to come right down in here through the actual panel on your right. So you should be able to just take your dash and kind of install it the same way you got it out. And we'll just be really careful as we're doing this, not to pinch the wire or anything. Make sure it's not running across anything that's critical and not in the way of any of those clips. You can put some painter's tape here if you want, but I think for right now, I'm just going to have it kind of loose in there. So just make sure you're lined up with your dash, and then a little bit of force, and you can kind of reinstall all those clip areas where there you go, where it reinstalls. 1, 2, and I think that did it. That seemed to reinstall the whole thing. Nice and secure in there, and your wire just kind of comes out right here on the front. So super nice. Let's get down here and talk about plugging this guy in. So we got the dash installed again, super simple. The next thing we're going to need is this little wiring harness from the package. Since we're only using one of the wires, we're not installing the dash camera, this is a fairly simple install. So I love how they included this. This is kind of your controller box, and then you have some kind of like daisy chain ports. So this will plug into 2 different areas down in your Tesla, and I really kind of, I think it's so nice to have these like daisy chains available. So right here is your first one. So unplug whatever you have in there. And for me, that's my lights. Then we're going to plug in the white one to get it power. And then what you just unplugged, plug back into the next one. Okay, my lights came back on, so that's great. And this is your blue OBD port. So we're going to install that just kind of over here on the right. See if I can get you an angle of it. Down in there, you can see that the open blue port. That's where we're going to be installing this one. So just be real gentle. Don't pull anything or don't get too crazy. See if I can get you an angle of what I'm doing down in there. It's kind of hard to see myself. Line up the actual port with the plug. Okay, there we go. And that's plugged in there. So this is all just going to tuck back up in here, so don't worry about it. There's plenty of room. And the last step is to take what you kind of plugged in before. It now has a green light on it, and you're routing your the actual dash in here. There's only one way it should fit, just like that. Perfect. And I just saw the dash turn on, the dash screen turn on. So that's awesome. Let's get you a shot of that boot up. Over there, you can kind of see it turning on. No, there's a bad glare. We'll get lots of shots of that, so don't worry. The next step is really kind of just buttoning some of this up, and then we're going to go take a look at some of those features of that dash screen. Super simple install. Let's take a few minutes, kind of button these things back up, get the trim pieces reinstalled, and we'll be back with an overview of the dash screen. So here we are inside the car with the finished product. Oh, I love how it looks. Just a nice kind of a complemented screen to the actual main screen. I really like it. You know, I don't have a whole bunch of testing done with it yet. I'd like to take a few days and actually do that before I come back with you guys. But this is just my initial overview and impressions here. To switch display modes, you actually can just swipe up on the screen, and it goes to all kinds of different display modes. This one kind of gives you your current drive time, your odometer time. Scrolling up again. See what this one has. Current drive time, just a different display, kind of how to shift. This one has some cool stuff. Oh, kind of like an old school speedometer, like that. Temperature. Very minimal kind of basic screen on that one. And back to kind of the OG screen. I like that. It's touch screen as well, so you can kind of change your settings. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. I haven't messed with a lot of those features yet. I'm going to do that over the next few days, and I'm going to come back and wrap up this video with all I've learned, all the cool features about it. We'll get you guys some driving footage and all that, but this is so far just the installation process. I'm going to do a little testing to see how much this does block any airflow, if it does, coming out of your air vents here. So let's go ahead and do that next. One of the main concerns that I've heard of installing a screen like this is, does it block any airflow coming out of your air vents up there? So I put together an extremely scientific test of some yarn on a string, and I want to see if this actually blocks some of the airflow. So I'm going to hold this up here. We're going to do a comparison. This is before I took the whole car apart. This is all just stock. And I want to hang this just kind of right where my face would normally be when I'm driving. Let's see if we can actually zoom out a little bit. There we go. And I kind of actually just want to hold it up here. I'm holding it on the glass, and I want to see if it actually makes a difference. So right now the air is off. There's no movement at all on the fan speed. So let's turn this up to about a 3 and see if we see any movement in here. And I'm not going to adjust it. I have it pretty, this is where I normally have it. It's just kind of pointed right at my face. So let's see if there's any kind of movement back here on a level 3. Maybe some minimum movement, not a lot. Let's get a little closer and see if it makes a difference. This is right where I'm kind of holding it, right on the visor. Really minimum movement, I would say. Let's go up to like a 6. You can definitely feel it coming out. So let's see. So there's definitely some movement right there on a 6. You can see that kind of middle one. See if I can get a good angle here. That middle one kind of dancing a little more, pushed back a little bit. And that's at kind of that level 6. Let's do one up at level 10. And then I'm going to repeat this whole test when I get the actual screen installed. Let's go up to a level 10 and see what that's like. And there's some big movement. You can see that. Again, I'm kind of right on the visors there with my super scientific stick. Most of my preference is having it definitely directed right at my face, so you can see how much movement there is there. All right, let's get back to the install, and we're going to install this screen. We'll come back and do the test again. So now that we have the screen all installed, I want to do our air vent test again to see if the screen actually blocks any of the airflow, see if it makes a difference. I have our tester here. I'm going to be holding it about in the same space, right about kind of behind the sun visor. We'll see if we have any noticeable difference here in the airflow speed. Let's turn it up. Right now it's on 1. So let's take a look and see if 1 makes any noticeable difference here. And I'll try to do like a side-by-side here so you guys can tell if there is a difference here. But again, this is my scientific testing, which is not scientific at all. So 1, you can't really tell anything anyway. Let's go up to about a 4, I think is where we went next, and see if there's any kind of flow movement compared to before. And I didn't adjust any of the angle or settings or anything of the actual air vents. It was right there. So 4, not a lot of movement. Bumped up to about a 7. I'll give you that kind of fan kick in a little bit. See if we get any airflow there. So some air movement, some flow there. Let's try 10. This is all the way up to max. Let's see how these dance. So maybe just a little bit different than how it was before. I think before with the screen not there, these were going back pretty far. Again, we'll do some comparisons on the screen so you guys can see. But still, pretty decent airflow. All right, so it's been a few days since I've installed the screen and I have it kind of set up here in my Model Y. I want to give you guys just an overview of all the different kind of options you can do in the screen, a little bit of the settings menu, and show some Android Auto because I have an Android phone. So let's get into that. So right off the bat, the screen has 5 different modes that you can scroll through, 5 different kind of UIs. So if you just come back on your scroll wheel on the right side of your steering wheel and you give it one flick up, it changes to the next wheel. And it's super intuitive and clean. And then I just really like that option. You scroll up or down and it goes to the next kind of display mode. So super cool there. This is kind of another minimalistic mode. On the left side, it tells you your current drive time, how many miles you're going, your odometer, the time of day, how much range you got down there. Scrolling up to the next one, and you get some kind of like sporty modes. This one actually gives you your regeneration and how much energy you're using in that middle wheel. And kind of gives you some other options there, like before your lights, your odometer. I like that one a lot. This next one's kind of your almost like a sports car one, with your speedometer right in the middle, just like an old school kind of sports car. Temperature, time, all that kind of good stuff. And you get into a really minimalistic one. If you don't want any of the gauges, you just kind of want your basic miles per hour. Very, very simple there. And then your main one, which I started with, is the 5th one, which is the same kind of visualization as you see over on your big display screen. But I really like this one a lot. It also has the tire PSI over there. On every screen in that little spot, you can come up and kind of give it a little scroll. This is a touch screen. And if you go, there's the next one's CarPlay, so go slow. Your actual settings menu, we'll get into that in a minute. You can connect your iPhones for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and yeah. So I love that a lot. I think that's really cool. I want to go into the settings menu really quick and show you what's in there. And I'm doing this through my phone screen, so I apologize if I'm a little laggy. But just a lot of different kind of options. I apologize for the glare. But lots of different options. You can see all the display options. I have it set on auto, light, dark. You can change the color of your car there, what model car you have, which side it drives on, in the controls menu, PSI, where you want your sound to come out of. So if you're navigating through Android Auto on your screen, you can either have the sound come out of the actual display screen here or your main car screen if you connect it via Bluetooth. Celsius, Fahrenheit, blind spot alert, which is a super cool feature, which I'll show you guys in a little bit. And, you know, some other options here. Your system kind of shows you which one you're on here, which UI functionality, languages, and then this is where you do your software updates. You can connect your Wi-Fi over on this side. And I've done my software updates. I had it connected to my Wi-Fi. It was super simple, installed just fine. So I really like that. And then your home screen down here. I want to quickly show you Android Auto. So if we go up a little bit, and I've already paired my phone with Bluetooth through Android Auto, but this is what it looks like, and I absolutely love it. I think this looks like every Android Auto car that I've driven. You get your app functionality down here, but it also tells you how fast you're going in the Tesla. You get your Google Maps functionality, and then on this side, it gives you your range and your battery percentage. Close all that down. So Android Auto, awesome. To get back to the main Tesla screen, you just come back to your app here, and then hit the exit button, and you're back. Some awesome visualization on this screen that I really like is when you put your foot on the brake and you're ready to go and you put your car into drive. It gives you kind of a big arrow that says that, you know, that's the way you're going. This will turn into kind of an emulation, just like on your main driver screen, your main screen, what that kind of looks like too. Put the car in reverse, does the opposite. Shows you that you're backing up. If you had the front camera installed, when you put it into drive, it would, and you're going slow, it would show the front camera display here. I didn't install the front camera. So you can kind of see it like that. But I think this is just, you know, when you put it in park, again, kind of emulates what you see on your main screen there. really awesome kind of screen. It does everything that you'd want it to do. It's just a redundant kind of screen. It adds the information right in front of you. And I really, really like that. So one of the last things I want to show you guys is Tesla C's website, and especially their landing page here, how they're advertising their 9.6-inch display, dashboard display. One thing I really want to highlight here is if you click on the link, you can see all the packaging, get lots and lots of information about it. But right out here is the over-the-air update log summary. And I think this is so cool. They're constantly pushing over-the-air updates to you guys so that you can have constantly bug-free experience and get more and more features with your screen. So if you come down here and click on the log, it actually tells you when the updates go out and what kind of update there were. Bug fixes, adding blind spot warnings, optimizing the car models and graphics. So I think that's so cool that they're actually adding different over-the-air updates so you can come here and check out what the new ones are and easily download them on your screen. I think that's awesome. So after using the screen for a few days, I want to give you guys kind of my final thoughts and go over a little frequently asked questions of things that I've seen people ask in different forums about adding one of these main displays and seeing if it's actually worth it. After I've had it for a few days, it's a really nice feature. I don't know if it's something that's necessarily missing from a Tesla because it's a redundant screen. You can get all of this information over on your main screen over here too. It's just really nice to have it displayed in front of you in your direct line of sight. You can see it all the time. If you have a yoke steering wheel installed, that'd be really cool too. You could see it even better. But even with the full-size steering wheel, the stock steering wheel, it looks great. You can see everything you want to see. This display screen from Tesla C is really high quality. I think it shows they actually care about their product, the way it came packaged, the over-the-air updates that I showed you on their website, the ease of use. It's a very user-friendly experience, so I really do like that. So if you ask me, as a frequently asked question, if you ask me, would you recommend this? I'd say yes. I think this is something that I really like having in my Tesla. It's going to be a nice addition. All the kind of information is right at your fingertips. Something that I haven't shown yet, but it's going to, something that you guys will see is the blind spot monitoring. When you're driving down the street, you'll get a little icon, either depending on what kind of display you're using, which one of the UIs, which will show you if there's a car in your blind spot. And I think that's something that's missing from Teslas. I know when you turn on your turn signal and your camera comes up on your main screen, it'll be flashing red on either side if there's a car in your blind spot. But I like to know before I turn on my turn signal if there's a car in my blind spot, and this screen does exactly that. So yes, I would recommend it. Another question I'm sure you guys will ask is, does it block the airflow? And I did some testing earlier, and I would say yes, but not really. So it's very minimal of blocking the airflow. There's plenty of airflow coming around the screen still. It keeps you cool in the summer. We're in the middle of September here, or sorry, August here. And it still kept me nice and cool after kind of being outside and wanting to cool the car down. So I don't think the airflow blockage is a really big deal. It's very minimal, as you saw from my testing earlier. How hard was it to install? I think this was a piece of cake. I would say even easier than like the ambient lighting I did, the swivel screen I did. This was probably the easiest one of those installs. Probably like a 3 out of 10, I would say. It's very easy. Taking apart the dash in these Teslas and the little screen where you plug it in, couldn't be easier. It's very plug and play. If you follow the instructions, Tesla C has some really awesome instructions on their website, some really great instructional videos. I tried to show you how to install it as well. So it's an awesome installation process. If you want to add the front camera, that is a little bit more involved and probably about double the amount of time it took because you have to run the wire down to the front of the car. You have to remove the frunk to get access to some of those different things. So a little bit more work involved there. But honestly, I don't know if you need the front camera. I think it's just fine without it. Yeah, I appreciate you guys kind of stopping by the channel and checking it out. If you're interested in this product, there will be a link to it down in the description. And also, I partnered with Tesla C. So if you do pick out this product and want it, use my discount code on the screen, Gamble1080. It'll save you 20% off the price of the actual screen and any of the accessories you buy with it. And that's a really big discount. So I appreciate you guys, checking that out. It really helps me if you do order using my code. So I appreciate you guys coming and checking out the channel. Always free to like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys coming back. Let me know what questions you have about the screen down in the comments. If you have any thoughts, if you've added a screen yourself, how did it go? So I'm curious to see how this is my first time adding a screen like this. And I really, really like this product. I highly recommend it. So thank you guys again for stopping by. We'll catch you in the next one.